Hey guys, okay, so this is a recording I'm doing of the second paper I meant to do earlier in the week, but time just kind of got away from me. So I just wanted to go ahead and still do this though, so you guys can see another example, just see some other errors or something. So the first thing I do is, of course, go through and look at everything just to see how like the readability is as far as like the formatting. So we have our bolded titles. There's a lot of space in between, whoops, these titles. So we want to create white space, and you probably see me say something about increasing white space. Um, and when I say that, I'm talking about like where the text isn't. So obviously we want to do that by having short paragraphs. Irish stop. But look at this one here. Wow, that is super long. So you can kind of tell the difference. Like here's this paragraph and this one and this one. But then when you see that one, it really is hard to read because there's not a lot of white space. So it makes it really hard for the eyes to read. On top of that, it's just, people in the business world are busy. So they're not going to, more likely they're just going to skim through this and not read everything. So you want to make sure you use short chunks of information, a couple small paragraphs. Irish, stop. Um, and that way your information is being read. Otherwise, if you have something like this and someone just skims through it, it's just going to end up being a waste of your time. Okay, so looking at the bibliography page, so this actually looks pretty good. This right here is an article from a periodical with a DOI number. So we have the article title here, and the person did a really great job of like only capitalizing the first word and then also the proper nouns. And then this is the journal title, and so this needs to actually be italicized. If you look at the online writing lab at Purdue and you go to electronic sources and then article from an online periodical, and then with the DOI or something like that's what it's called, you can just follow it step by step. This one here is not in alphabetical order. This one here looks pretty good, except The Guardian is actually the periodical title, so I'm just going to put a period here. We don't need the author's name again. And I'm just going to add in italics, The Guardian. Okay, so, and just like I said, I'll make a note here. Sources need to be in alphabetical order. Okay. So let's just go through this really quickly. Let's see. A potential location for a new plant is Brazil. I have researched the economic, political, business, and other relative conditions for living or working in Brazil. Okay, pretty decent introduction. It's, it tells why we're writing, or why this person's writing, what is going to be included in this document. So then the reader knows what to expect. Brazil has a strong and well-developed agricultural, mining, manufacturing, and service sector. And this is coming from the World Factbook. Anytime you have an in-text citation like this, the period goes after the citation. And we need our year. Let's see, what was that? Was that 2015? 16. Cool. Okay. So remember, your source comes with the year. Brazil did not always have such a strong economy. However, in 2003, they began to improve their macroeconomy by building their foreign reserves, reducing their debt profile, so listing, and shifting their debt burden toward real denominated and domestically held instruments. Okay, so another thing here too is when we have two complete sentences that we're connecting with a word like however, you need a semicolon. A semicolon goes anywhere a period can go when you're joining two complete sentences. And then however, comma. And it looks like this came from the World Factbook. So again, comma, 2016, and then the period after citation. Let's see. All three major rating agencies recognized the change in Brazil's economy and awarded Brazil's debt with investment grade status. However, shortly thereafter, in 2008, Brazil's economy took a downturn. Brazil suffered from a decrease in their global commodity-based exports and suffered from two consecutive quarters of recession. So, oh, we got the period there. So again, just then in 2010, Brazil was able to increase their GDP growth to 7.5%, which is the highest it has been in 25 years. So again, so now my question after reading this is, of course, if you watched the previous video, what does this mean for your, hoping that was just autocorrect, come on, for your company's expansion into Brazil? Remember to tie all this information back to your audience. Alright, stop, dude. Okay, the political conditions of Brazil. Brazil has had recent scandals, and come on, let's use real words here. Issues with their political system. There was a recent scandal in May in which an investigation named Operation Car Wash alleges that some of Brazil's largest construction firms overcharged state oil company Petrobras for building contracts. The extra revenue would then be given to top politicians who were in cohesion with the construction firms. Cohesion. I don't know if that's the right word. We'll come back to that. Allegedly, the Workers' Party financed its campaigns and expenses through said kickbacks. So what has gone wrong in Brazil? I think that was the last one, 2016. So again, we got the period in the right spot, 2016. That's the name of the article. It just doesn't have an author. So in the in-text citation, you want to use quotation marks. And after you do that the first time, you can even shorten the name, like what has gone wrong or something like that. There was also an investigation named Mensalo, in which allegedly public funds were used to buy votes for members of Congress. Let's move allegedly, because like the alleged, what's the alleged part? The public funds or the fact that they were used? I'm guessing it's the fact that they were used. So in which public funds were allegedly used to buy votes for members of Congress. The scandal was first publicized in 2005. It took APA, spell out numbers 1 through 9, 7 years to fully investigate and provide fair trials. In total, 25 politicians, bankers, because we're listing, and businessmen were convicted of fraud. Some of the politicians that were convicted were top members of the Workers' Party. Let's see. It's the same thing here, 2016. As a result of the two major scandals during her presidency, there was a movement to impeach Dilma Rousseff. However, I would say, let's see, well, I guess we can keep going. As a result of the two major scandals during her presidency, I'm assuming the other scandal would be the Operation Car Wash, right? The other, she says two. Anyway. However, it has been found that her former vice president, now the acting president, Michel Temer, commas around words or phrases that interrupt, was part of the corruption. It seems that Temer, other corrupt politicians, and ministers, let's lowercase that because we're not talking about them as like it's their specific name, have been working to oust Rousseff to save their own skin. Rousseff has claimed throughout her impeachment trial that she is not guilty and simply being tried because she refused to succumb to blackmail or accept dirty money. Rousseff is not being tried for any of the major scandals. She is being tried for budget fraud, which would not normally be a criminal trial. So we're just like going on, and at this point, as a reader, I'm like, what the heck does this have to do with the expansion to Brazil? What does this even mean for us? So I'm going to keep reading because I have to, but if I were a business person, I would probably stop reading. Rousseff is not being tried for any of the major scandals. She is being tried for budget fraud, which is not going to be a criminal trial. She is accused of borrowing large sums to cover up the current financial conditions in, I think that's extra, the most recent release for the country's budget. It is unclear she will be reinstated as the president, lowercase, because we're not talking about it as her name, like that she is president or impeached. However, a decision should be reached later this month. Political distrust has grown with multiple protests, more than one, in recent months. Rio de Janeiro is the location of the 2016 Olympic Games. Originally, the country was excited to host the Olympic Games. However, due to the recent political unrest, half of the country no longer wants Brazil to host the Olympic Games. This was reflected in a recent survey as well as in a protest demonstration. When the Olympic torch was on display, after introductory expressions, numerous protesters tried to extinguish the Olympic flame. The torch holders were closely escorted by police officers. Okay, that's just what they are. You don't capitalize it because that's not their specific name. The torch, I'm going to leave that capitalized only because we're talking about the specific Olympic torch, which she referenced up here. In riot gear, unless that's a brand, which I don't think it is, we're going to lowercase that. Just a thing, like in t-shirts, you wouldn't capitalize t-shirts, or in shorts, you wouldn't capitalize shorts, who fired into the crowd on multiple occasions. Oops. Okay, and then that's the end. So this said they were going to talk about business. I don't see anything about business here. In other relative conditions, I only see that this person talked about economic and political, and on top of that, I don't know what any of this has to do. I'm just going to do this. Well, here, we'll do this first. This is way too long. This paragraph is way too long for business writing. Also, what does any of this have to do with possibly expanding to Brazil? How does it affect the company and its employees? Okay. So anyway, remember, just all semester, take an audience-centered approach, connect things back to your audience, think about what your audience would want to know. Don't just give them information that you think is interesting. Think about, legitimately, what does my audience need to know? What would they want to know? If I were a CEO thinking about expanding to Brazil, honestly, this right here would be of importance to me about the economy, although I'd want to know what it means. But none of this would really matter to me unless you give me a reason for it to matter. So, all right, that is it for this one. Thanks, guys and gals.